This is Images of America, Milford by Christopher J. Thompson. This was a book that was given to me by a friend of my mom's, actually. She knows I'm into the history of Milford, and I've been a fan of this series, and I've leafed through this book before at the library, but I've never owned a copy, and so I'm excited to have owning it. So I'm just going to kind of leaf through this again and take a bit of a trip down memory lane and see how many of these photos I can actually really talk about. Right off the bat here, we have Lovejoy Granite Company. Pretty easy to see just because it does say Lovejoy right there. But this is a rock quarry that is still in existence. It's not really where this photo is. You can see the rail line through here. I don't think this is actually the rail line. I'm thinking this is probably a secondary rail line that went to the actual rail line. So probably carts on this, not like a full train. That's my guess. But this quarry is right next to the rail trail, which is where I ran a few weeks ago, and I talked a little bit about that. We have some great pictures here of Milford. The White Mountain Freezer Company. This Nashville company formed in 1879. The employees in Milford are pictured in this undated photograph. The building appears to have been located near the depot on Cottage Street. The White Mountain Freezer Company also had a facility near Jones Crossing. After 84 years of business, the company shut down in 1963. Depot and Cottage Street. I'm not actually familiar with where that is, but I like that photo. That might be one that we should mark here. All right. Let's continue on here. Square Shoe Company. This three-story manufacturing plant on Clinton Street was the home of Quaker Shoe Company. The building was constructed in 1912 with the financial help of the people of Milford. The business ceased to exist after October 1915. Okay, I have actually long been really interested. I've only done surface level digging, but New Hampshire used to be a really huge center for making shoes. There, at one time, I believe Manchester produced more shoes than anywhere else in the world, and I think that was the case for a long time. In fact, let me look really quick. Yeah, I can't find it, but somewhere I do have a book on the history of the Manchester shoe industry. French and Heald Company, I've done a video on them. French and Heald was right behind where you can see the iconic waterfall is, the dam over by the swing bridge. The swing bridge would be like right here off of the picture. But now this is a, what direction are we looking at this from? Yeah, swing bridge would be over here. This is now what am I trying to say? Like a 55 plus community or nursing community. I'm not quite sure, but that's where it is here. It did burn down in a fire, but this factory, and down here there's an addition to it. I'm not quite sure where this is oriented to the above factory, but French and Heald was huge. It was a furniture company. They made tons and tons of furniture. In fact, if you go into antique stores around New Hampshire, from what I've heard from people who do antiquing, on the bottom you can still see a lot of like coffee tables and chairs that was made by the French and Heald Company. And they I think they had 800 employees at one time that all resided in Milford, and those were largely the people crossing the swing bridge in the morning to go work here. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, it did burn down in a big fire. Looks like 1916 put 150 residents out of work. Okay, so I was way off. 150, not 800. That makes more sense. Although it may, I don't know. And I'm actually curious if maybe this fire had to do with anything to do with the swing bridge burning down, because the iron swing bridge that we see today is a remake of a rope bridge. But I'm thinking the timing probably does not work. on that. But that might be another great video to kind of revisit someday. They rebuilt the French and Heald Company. They're really testing my knowledge here because I'm pretty sure it did burn down in its final days. Like, they may have rebuilt it, but I'm pretty sure it burned down completely, and that was the end of it. Up here we have another photo of them constructing it. Yeah, this is up against Prospect Street. Wow, you can see some interesting stuff back here. You can see a train car. Let's see, where's our early stages of construction, new French and Heald plant on Nashua Street. At this time, there were far fewer trees in Milford, and the houses on Prospect Street can be seen in the background. So, are we looking across the river? Prospect Street. Okay. So, wow. So this is the French and Heald Company, and then this is Prospect Street. This is that bend. Sam used to live on this street back in the day when we first started dating. She had a little apartment right there. Okay, so you're seeing stuff on Prospect Street. So we are looking at a vantage point from here, up here, all the way down. Wow. So that must be these far houses up on the hill. Those must be on Prospect Street. Wow, that really is true, the tree thing. I've said a lot of times, if you ever want to see what New Hampshire looked like during the turn of the century, all you have to do is go drive around Hollis. Hollis is very much what most of these towns looked like back in the day. Oh yeah, this is a classic. This is the pumping station that's now the Manchester Public Works building. So again, this is all trees and stuff now. You can just see how much more cleared out it was. Hendricks Wire and Cable. Hendricks Wire and Cable, pictured in 1967, is one of Milford's largest employers and has been for quite some time. Bill Hendricks started the business in 1951, and the business recently celebrated its 50th anniversary. The company manufactures underground and overhead medium voltage power cables. Huh. Oh, yeah. Oh, of course, we all know where Hendricks is. That's right, it's next to Hitchner. We see their giant coils of cable. Oh, I didn't realize that they were a 50-year-old company. Wow, yeah, that area looks much, much different. Much different now. Right here we have the creamery. Shown is another view of Milford Farm, the Milford Farm Produce Company on Garden Street. This building was at this location for 47 years before being torn down in 1957. Looks like we got a little swastika there. I'm not sure what the story is behind that. I know the swastika... swastika's had a complicated history, so I won't hold it against them, but not sure what's going on there. We have a great picture here, the Granite Town, which if you didn't already know, the Granite the Granite State is named after Milford. Back when they started calling New Hampshire the Granite State, well, Milford was the largest producer of granite in the state because Milford was the granite town of the Granite State. So a little fun piece of history for you. This looks like Lovejoy. And this is the Sohegan National Bank. The interior of the Sohegan National Bank. And the exterior. I don't know anything about this. This might be another good one to do a video on or something. Just show where that building is and talk a little bit about it, you know. I know all about this gas station without having to know all about it. The title service station, the former Whitmore Block, was torn down in 1950 to make room for this new service station at the corner of Amherst Street, just cross the stone bridge. Although the operation has had many names over the years, it remains a service station today. And I'm telling you, that place is cursed, because I have never seen a gas station since, I don't know, the earlier 2000s. I've never seen a gas station stay in business there. This is where now the Rite Aid was. I believe that was an inn. Now there's a Rite Aid there. But yeah, and there's a church right here. So I think you know that one. Boom. This is the Sauhegan Cotton Mill, which there still are remnants of it, mainly this piece today. This is over on Sauhegan Street along the river. It's a large mill built for processing cotton. It was constructed in 1848 on the south side of Sauhegan Street. The building pictured was 178 feet long from end to end. The workers of the cotton mill built many of the older homes on Sauhegan Street. The business ceased to exist after a fire completely destroyed the building in 1872. I'm going to call a little BS, because I know that piece right there very well. There is a big power plant right here, or like a power station, and then there's like a construction company down the road. I forget the name of it or what it is. But you know what? That's another one to bookmark, because maybe I'm completely wrong. I want to know what I'm looking at then, if it's not this building. So we'll save that one for later as well. And of course, the White Elephant Shop. This is another one that I think a lot of people are aware of. This, I think I hear the most in terms of people remembering, because this wasn't even that long ago. I think, 1966, it was destroyed by a fire. Let me double check that. When it burned to the ground. Yes, so this was an antique shop. It was, I believe, from what I know anecdotally from people who've talked about it, was always like packed with stuff in the front. Like it was just filled to the brim, like a hoarder house of a business, and it was ripe for a fire. But long story short, this is right up against the road. This is where Cumberland Farms is, right here off the Oval. I'm sure people in the comments who've been in the area for a long time could maybe remember or tell me more about that, just because it seems to be fresh in everyone's memory. We're now at the People. I'm going to conclude there for the evening. I love industrial history. I'm really into commerce and business. And so my favorite parts of history have to do with business and money. So buildings are always what I'm most interested in. Businesses and buildings are always what I'm most interested in. Not to say I won't be interested in the rest of this book, but we'll just stop there so I can make this. But hopefully, maybe these will come into this will inspire some juicy content that's back to something that I and everyone can enjoy watching and producing. I have reached out to 2 different people with no response. But you know what the good thing about a resource like this is? You can go to the locations and you don't have to give them a phone call first. You can just show up, which is beautiful for my style of living. All right, thanks for joining.